Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Hoot podcast. It is a brand new year here at the Owls, which means a brand new season of the podcast, essentially. I am your host for the upcoming episodes, Morgan Lagerleth. And last year we had the Hoot podcast with myself and Kieran and Jake. And we only did a couple episodes and there wasn't much variety to it. So this year things are going to be very different. We're going to have myself, and I'm hoping to have a variety of different guests from across the Owls and maybe even beyond, who knows, to give you a lot more of an insight into what's happening in the Owls and esports in general. We're hoping to bring you episodes much more frequently. I'm thinking potentially monthly right now, but we can see how that develops. We're going to be talking about everything from the Owls, their teams, behind the scenes stuff, just games that we're enjoying right now, and anything that can really interest us. But today we have a bit more of an interesting episode for you, because this is something that I've wanted to do for quite a while. Today we have Kieran and Neil, the founders of Overwatch in college terms in Wales. I guess I've been putting you on a bit too much of a pedestal there, but I don't know, I think so. But Neil, Kieran, how are you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah, great, thanks.
Good. Okay, so I suppose we should get started with at the beginning, really. You guys started this in 2019? Yeah? Yeah, it was 2019, yeah.
I think so. 2019, I saw a flyer from British Esports, not British Esports, from Esports Wales, and we looked into sort of competing, and I found the British Esports Student Champs. It was quite in its infancy at that point, so we signed up for it. Well, first of all, I asked a bunch of students, and we had 6 Overwatch players in the classroom, so we just started playing for fun every Wednesday. We didn't know what a scrim was. We didn't practice. We just was 6 players who just played for some fun, but we got hooked on the intensity of it. So I think we played the first season, and we did okay. I think we got knocked out I think it was the top 8. I think we got as far as the top 8, but we got knocked out by teams who had strategies and plans. And then I can't remember when Kieran came on board at some point, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I came on board maybe a month or 2 after, and yeah, I wasn't into. Didn't know what esports was. I just saw the guys gaming. I didn't even know the game they were playing, Overwatch, and just found out more about it. Found out about the different heroes. Played it myself, then got hooked on it. Started watching the Overwatch League until the early hours in the morning. Got hooked, and then obviously with that, followed the team on with the Owls in college.
Yeah, I think because obviously you guys have computing lecturing backgrounds, and I imagine back then it was very much you were a lot similar to traditional teaching. You know, you came in, you taught your computing, you weren't really involved in these new ideas that the kids had until you found this new esports that suddenly sort of shifted your whole perspective, I guess. And it was
a question for you, Morgan. Then.
Okay.
Did you know all about esports, and were you playing esports teams before you came to us?
That's the thing. See, that's why esports education is important, because I didn't. I played games like, you know, everyone my age does, and I played competitive games like Overwatch. And then when I was like 13, 14 is when I discovered that actually esports is a thing and there's more competitive side to this. But I never really knew what it was or how it worked besides just people playing games and making money off of it. And it wasn't until I came to Gower College and I started working with the Owls that I actually learned this is the path to pro, this is how they go through doing things, and this is how you could potentially get involved and do things. So I'm actually very grateful for that stuff.
And this is what I mean, is that none of us knew what scrims were, none of us knew what esports really was, apart from it's something that you see people play. But then, you know, I saw the flyers, we put the team together. British Esports was the first time any of those students had ever competed in anything. and that's how things grew really. And so students didn't know anything about it either. So we were all floundering around trying to figure out how the whole thing worked. And I was there just organising a room and watching them play. And then sort of Kieran came along and said, "We need let's make a social media. Let's tweet about this."
Yeah.
And even that was new as well. So everything was new to us when we first started.
Yeah, it's great to see as well that you've both really just gone in head first into this esports stuff. You'll see colleges that will be in a similar position to you a couple of years ago. They'll have a couple of people, they'll have a general interest in esports and say, yeah, go on, we'll rock up every Wednesday or whatever it is, and we'll have a bit of fun. But that's the sort of level that they leave it at. And it's really amazing to see people like you coming in and saying, actually, we can do this, and we can do this really well and properly, and there's a whole market here that we can tap into. And when was that when you made that decision to say, actually, this is something we can do properly?
I think early on, really, it's a case of when you do something, it's a case of on a project, you've got to take it seriously. And basically, one of the first things we did was we looked at what other teams are doing, looked at how the professionals did it, and then try to idolize what they were doing and try and replicate that to our students and give them the best opportunity. So if they're playing at maybe an amateur level, but still give them the look of we're taking it seriously. So having highlights for our for TikTok and YouTube, making Twitter posts, Instagram posts to praise the game, to make it really come alive, really, because we, like I said, we're trying to make it as realistic as possible. But I think what myself and Neil and our colleagues have done now is we try and make it as professional as possible. So we have scrim times, we have people making graphics, so the whole team comes together. It's not just about gaming, it's the background work as well. A lot of work is put into it.
Definitely. I think I've been quite grateful actually to see. I wasn't there right at the beginning. I joined sort of 2020, 2021, and I was able to see it sort of in its early stages of trying to act professional. When you were on the Twitter account and it had maybe less than 100 followers, I was able to see the transition. It was quite a good thing to see.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I think I've deleted most of the old graphics because they looked awful. If I looked at them now, at the time they looked amazing, obviously, but as time goes on, things get better. Your graphics get better. Your players get better and so on. But the videos get better. Everything gets better.
Yeah, it's great. Cool. It's like it's nice to know that you're there, constantly trying to do better in esports, constantly trying to work on your graphics, constantly trying to get the most out of your players and the best you can. Like, only just a few years ago, our best players were, in Overwatch at least anyway, our best players were just a couple people platinum, diamond level, but now we have been able to develop the Owls as a big name professional.
It all resolves on the students, though. Students, we try and get the students to take as much part of this as possible. Gaming wise, if they're not excellent at gaming, that's fine. Are you good at photography, or are you good at creating a TikTok video? Anything like that, just get them involved. Because it's these skills that will help them in industry later on.
Yeah, definitely. I think esports is all about experience and what you've done and who you know, and doing stuff like this, like me doing this podcast, I am able to then take this to future employers or whatever and say, look, I have this experience in esports, look, I've done this, I've played for the teams, I've managed, coached, I've done all this stuff. And it's really great that you're giving students this opportunity to do all this stuff. And I suppose on the other side then, there's also the esports, of course, the actual esports diploma that we're all here for. I suppose when did you Neil sort of see, when did you discover it and see that it was a thing, and then at what point did you actually start saying this is something that we could work on?
Yeah, just taking a step back, I think it would be worth in a future podcast digging up the old graphics and just showing how things have developed
Yeah,
and how things have
definitely.
changed.
Well, yeah, I could do, yeah.
I'm going to dig up those graphics and because they have changed, they have improved. We've grown, we've matured with the sport really, and things get better all the time. Esports, cool. Lots of people claim to be in the first ever esports course, but the course was advertised by British Esports. I contacted them before it was actually officially running, and we applied to be on the course. So when the course was first available to be taught, we were one of the first colleges then teaching it, and there's different types of certificate. There's a certificate, extended certificate, diploma, an extended diploma, and I think we were one of the first 2 or 3 colleges to be on board with a complete extended diploma, the full 2-year BTEC. When do you started? I can't remember when. You've been doing it for 4 years, Kieran?
Your first year was 2020, I believe.
Yeah, I think during COVID we
Yeah.
started it.
Yeah, 'cause I remember actually the first year you did it was my first year at Gower when I was doing my A levels. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I suppose what was that like in the first year and leading up to the first year? What was it like trying to get it on board with the college and get the word out to students that this is something we're about to start doing?
We advertised the course on our college website. You can never guarantee something like this is going to run. It depends on student numbers. So we advertised it. Then we had the numbers. I think it was like 20 odd students. But then the panic started. Then, but this is reality. This is actually going to run. And then it was myself and Kieran really who were able to teach it. And then you had those teachers who didn't agree with it, teachers who didn't want to teach on it. So me and Kieran ended up developing a line share of the topics, and then we've advertised for new teachers and other teachers like Dan. He came on board because he wanted to teach esports. He worked at another college, and although he's a good computer lecturer and he's a fantastic coder and stuff, he loves esports. So he's on board now doing the ethics in esports, and he's on board doing coaching. And then what I do, my topics, streaming and skills, strategies, analysis. Last year I did coaching as well. And then Kieran, you've got your topic, haven't you?
Yeah, so 2 of the topics that I cover is Introduction to Esports, which is just as it says, pretty much. If anyone who studies esports wants to have a flavour of what it is, it talks about the organisations involved, such as British Esports, Esports Wales. It also looks at what organisations are there in the world. So we look at CASPA, the Korean Esports Association, and we look at esports in general. How does the UK compare to the world? I also teach social media, which obviously goes hand in hand with my role at the Owls. But we look at things like branding as well. So anything to make make your product look as good as possible. We look at lots of different examples from some of the top teams in the world. How do they do it? And they do a lot of researching into those topics.
Yeah, I can say firsthand. Literally, just an hour before we recorded this, I was sat doing branding with you, and it is a lot of looking at what are the top teams doing, what sets them out from the rest, and more specifically, what makes them professional. Because there's esports, and then there is actually an industry. There's playing games, and there's the industry of esports, and a lot of the esports course is seeing what sets you apart to make it an actual viable career.
Yeah, one of the problems we get, one of the problems we get is when we do a taste today, we are always full because they see sports, and we get 20 kids from school sitting in front of us, and they're always disappointed because they don't get to play games. So something for next year, we need to advertise that if you want to do an esports taster, you will not be playing games. You'll be doing some marketing, some video editing, that type of thing.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
Yeah, I know because I first learned about the esports course in 2021 as my first year of A levels. I didn't know it existed. Like I was actually eligible to do it at the first year, but I didn't know it existed. And then when I learned it existed, and I'd said actually I have an interest in this, and I'd spoken to the both of you about it, and you'd said okay, but just so you know, it's not just playing games. We build up your portfolio. We teach you branding, marketing, live streaming, all this stuff. And straight away I said, yes, I'm on board. I would like to work in esports. I would like to learn all these essential skills. And so I guess it's important to understand that this is not just about playing games. This is esports. I suppose what's that like for you guys? I suppose Neil, you're in the process of like getting students on board with the course. What's it like in terms of how many people come in actually understanding what they're getting into?
Well, actually, it's quite pleasing because I've yet to have we've been doing this for 4 years. I've yet to get a student who actually thought they were going to play games for 2 years on the course. So when I interview them, or Kieran interviews as well, we always ask them why they want to do the course, and they always want to be a streamer. They always want to be a coach. They always interested in branding or marketing. So it is good news because our retention rates are really high in the course. So we do make sure that they know, but we're quite lucky in the fact that they don't expect to play games, which is quite good.
Yeah. I suppose what's great about the esports course as well, and how it's shaped the Owls and Gower is how on board with everything the college has actually been. They, of course, you came to them. You didn't understand what esports is. They don't understand what esports is, but they were able to come in and say, yes, you can do the course. Yes, you can have all this amazing equipment. And I suppose what has it been like being able to teach this course while having support from the college with what you do, and them constantly pushing you to make the course better?
Yeah, it's great. And to be honest, one thing I would say, one piece of advice I'd say is, if you are looking at studying esports, which again is just more than just gaming, as Neil said, then you've got to run a team as well, because the team then can act as the real life example behind the learning that you're doing. So, for example, when you're creating the brand, it's the brand of the team. So the team's colours. If you're looking at social media, posting about different results or different activities you're doing, you do it through the team. So it's every unit can be used for different purposes for the team. And the support we've had from the college has been fantastic, and we get a lot of publicity. One of the things that we've done recently now is the last year, and we're building up on it this year, is the F1 Wellbeing, where we get our college staff who come up, have a go on our F1 racing rigs, and they get involved in esports. So yeah, it's great. It's a lot of support we've had from college, and it's always growing and getting better every year.
Yeah,
so it's good to see.
Yeah, I suppose it's the area of the college that the esports stuff is located in. It's the computing area, or the Computing and Innovation Center, it's called. But it's I assume when you first moved in it was just the computing area, but over the years now it has become the computing and esports area. You have rooms like the room Neil's in right now are dedicated esports areas where we've been given fancy, like high-end equipment to study esports and make sure that we're at the top of our game while doing so.
Yeah, we were based in T Cork on the main site. And then there was a fire, so it burnt our classrooms, which was such a shame. But then the college recently bought an old hospital which is attached next to the college. So over the Christmas time, they showed me this empty shell of a hospital ward that nobody else wanted. So I said, we'll take that. We worked with some planners, and because it was a fire and there was a big rush to get it all done, we had the hospital ward then purposely kitted out just for our needs. So we had all the extra classrooms and stuff put in, and sort of it turned out really pleasing. It's in a nice area. It looks sort of like an old hospital from the outside, but it's completely brand new inside, as you know. And we've just built a new cyber arena, so we're going to be holding cyber competitions with gaming spec machines, actually. But we're going to have the end of this building as well, which is going to become our streaming studio. So, in a few months' time, we'll be able to stream from a purpose-built lab, if you like. Probably January we'll open that.
Yeah, no, it's great to see. It's always evolving, it's always growing, and the facilities are always growing. Yeah, because you can build up your brand, you can play the games, be great at them, whatever. But then when you come to college and you're just staring at like a general purpose teaching room, it can be a bit underwhelming and a bit demoralizing. But to be able to come to college and feel like you're in an esports environment makes all the difference, in my opinion, honestly. I mean, you've got these rooms with all these sponsored computers, all these sponsored chairs, and it just makes all the difference.
Keep puts the posters up when you.
Yeah, I think it's just to show that. So obviously, when the students see that how hard we work behind the scenes, like, it doesn't get done by magic, and it's a lot of work, a lot of time gets put into this. So it's not the case of we're lecturers at the end of the day, but extracurricular time, any free 5 minutes, 10 minutes we use to either build the brand or develop the hours. We attend scrims in evening times, where normally you'd just be sitting down doing nothing, watching TV. We're creating stuff for the students because we're trying to get the best experience for our students. Even contacting some of the best people in the world to give talks and share their experiences. So it's all about making connections, but it's a very selfless job where you just get people to your classes, and but it's so rewarding though. It is really rewarding. And the way it's grown since we've started it to now. Like I said, it's only been like 3 or 4 years, and we've grown to to a really good standard, and we're growing all the time.
Yeah, I suppose that is one of my that was one of my favorite things about this. Like, you get people, their interest is gaming, they will go to college and talk about gaming and think about gaming, but then they will go home and talk about college and think about gaming. And it's great that you guys are also doing the same thing. You're not just switching off and see you tomorrow. You are there every hour of the day discussing gaming, talking about gaming. Anytime, like 10 o'clock in the night, I can say, Neil, we have a scrim, and you're there watching, giving your input. It's esports.
I enjoy the scrims. We watched Team 1 play. They were good. Yeah. I think was it 3.9k, was it?
3.9, yeah.
3.9k scrim, that went really well. Against Fandra. So, two good teams up against each other.
No, it was accurate.
Yeah. And last night, Team 2 played. It was a 3k scrim, but they performed really well. So we'll put them up now. So there's a lot of coaching, and we spend a lot of time going for scrims. Dan works really hard with the Valorant teams, and to be fair, he gets some top coaches in. So we've been looking at British esports and debating endlessly. What do we do? Do we go into open, or do we go into national? And it's quite a dilemma that sort of British esports have created for us, because I've just been checking while you're online. There's about 137 teams in the open, and there's something like, was it 36, 37 in the national? So it's hard to know where it's going to go, because I can't help feel that a lot of the interest is going to be in the open, because that's where all the teams are. You're going to be interested in the league you're in. So it's going to be fascinating to see which way this goes with College of Esports streaming open games, and with British Esports streaming the nationals. It's going to be hard to know. We're in both. So we've got Valorant and Overwatch in nationals, and we've got Valorant and Overwatch in the open teams as well, along with Rocket League. So it's going to be interesting to see which was the right path to take, really.
Yeah. You can tell from that, like, you're just putting so much time and effort into this, rather than just saying, yeah, you want to enter this, yeah, go ahead. You are there thinking, what is the best option? Yeah. What is the best players? What are we doing? which are we entering, which one will get us more publicity, which one will be the more competition, which one is more likely to win. So there's a lot of decision that just goes into that one thing, and it's
just to make the point that Neil made. I think, to be honest, whatever division we go into, it's all about being competitive. That's what esports is all about, being competitive. And yeah, you obviously you can't be top dog all the time. You are going to face someone who is bigger than you. But it's a case of rising to that challenge and making sure our players get practice in, get the coaches in, learn. It's all about learning, really, at the end of the day. You can't win them all, but it's a case of reflecting on how do you lose and making it better for next time. And that's how students develop, and that's how we get the best out of every student. Because yes, they win, but it's not a case of just winning. You got to know how you win, and if you made mistakes, okay, we'll fix them for next time. But losing is a big part as well. You got to learn from your losses, because that'll just make you a better person.
Yeah, definitely. I can attest to that just from years of experience playing in British esports. Going from like the first few matches I had where you win some, you lose some, it's whatever, to going to now where you're individually analyzing each game and individually talking about each win, each loss, how things went, but the biggest strength is being able to say that's in the past, move forward, how do we win, how do we do better, and there's a lot of support for that with the Owls.
There's a fascinating insight to this is the British esports and college teams. We only have a team for 2, perhaps 3 years. You won't get, we could have a level 1 student, level 2 student, level 3. So you could theoretically have a student for 4 years, but realistically it's 2 to 3 years. So it doesn't matter how good you are 1 year, that team is going to change. You might be lucky and get high standard through the door. You might not get that standard, and you might have to, build those players up. So you can never know from 1 year to the next who the top teams are going to be, because when I first started looking at the British Esports League, there's teams that when we first started that we were looking to, we haven't seen since. But I'm pretty sure they'll suddenly re-emerge again. We used to watch some of the teams we learnt from, where we watched them stream, we watched their graphics. And Keegan will tell you, we were like so impressed with these kids streaming some of their games, yet they've all disappeared now. But I fully expect them to suddenly come back out into it when a good team turns up. So it can all change.
I suppose we've done quite well, though, surprisingly. It's been 4 years of this now, 4 or 5 years, but the Owls have always remained in the public eye. We've had good teams, we've had bad teams, but we've always been able to stay on top. Even after we've gained players, lost players. Like our Overwatch team 2 years ago, they made it to finals. They got second place. Yeah. The majority of them aren't here anymore, but we are still here, still trying to compete as best as we can, still winning what we can and learning from our losses. Even when we take what we can get and we grow and build as much as we can to still be on top.
It's like traditional sports. You have good seasons, you got some bad seasons, but you don't just stop because you have a bad season, or if you get relegated, you just keep on going. And that's why we try and channel into our students. And as Neil said, every year is a different team. Like I said, you do hope you have an amazing team. One classic example, our Rock League team 2 won Division 1 last year, where we've actually struggled this year to put together a Rock League team because conflict between lessons and so on, which is difficult for them to practice and so on. So it can be very difficult some years. But things change and we have to develop ourselves to make sure we're ready for each game every year.
We saw a similar thing with Overwatch 2 last year. We had Overwatch 2 just released. We had an abundance of players come in. So many, especially in the first early years when I was playing, so many tank players are coming in and joining. But this year, we've only had just a handful, but we've still been able to make the most of what we've got and still been able to build the best rosters possible, really.
Yeah, we've been up against, when I look back at Overwatch as an example, we've had some fantastic teams we've been up against of such a massive high standard, and lots of those players all know each other from Open Division and stuff. There was Western, fantastic team. QM, we became huge rivals. We played in the final. Fandra, they're always good. Fandra always seem to be there. Essex, there's another good team, but we don't seem to come across Essex often. We rarely seem to cross paths with Essex. And then as our good friends and sort of Coventry, the Crosshairs were one of the first sort of teams that I started talking to, and Greg was used to give me advice and tell me how it all works. I still go to Greg for what I call a Greg explanation of something that's gone wrong. So and he let me know what it all means. So I didn't read up all these new British esports rules. I just messaged Greg on Discord, said give me a Greg explanation, and then I get the cut down version of what it is. So we made a lot of good college friends. We made a lot of rivals. We made a lot of friends, and that's what's good about it,
Yeah.
And it's so hard for me and Kieran because the students are playing. For me and Kieran, we need the wins. We need the wins for sponsors. We need the wins to show our profile in the college, and me and Kieran want the win for ourselves. So it's hard for me and Kieran because we desperately want to win, and I don't know what would have happened to us if we hadn't won the Nationals last year. I don't know what would have happened to us. I think it would have been tough, Kieran. It would have been very tough to come back from that.
I think the development of the years, you have a quarter-finalist, then semi-finalists, and finalists, and lost. And then last year, it just clicked. I think the Rocket League team, for example, got to the final, and I had to step out of the room because it was so stressful. And it
1
was,
second.
It was literally, we were winning, and it came down to 1 second
And they
when the other
scored.
team equalised, and I thought, that's it.
Yeah.
We've lost this. But fair play to the players. The Rock League team, they came back in overtime, and it's fantastic. But the celebrations from that was like 3 or 4 years worth of celebrations in one.
Yeah.
No, yeah, exactly.
One eruption, really.
Yeah, because you'll have students come in, like you said before. You only have students for 2, maybe 3, 4 years, whatever, and they'll come in. They'll play for the Owls. They'll treat it as their team for these 2 years, and then they'll go. And that's in the back of their mind now. They'll never think about it again. But you're still here. You're here before they come. You're here when a player is there, and you're here when they leave. No matter how the team adapts and changes, you guys are always still here. This is your team, basically, and you can definitely tell like the passion you guys have and the reputation you want to uphold. And it's great as well that the Owls has made a name for itself with all these other teams and all these other colleges, and because I can come in and I can say, oh, Coventry, just Coventry, for example, they got these players, they got these guys, whatever. But behind the scenes, you've known these guys for years and you've talked to these guys and you have a relationship with these guys. And I suppose it's a much different outlook for you guys compared to how the students perceive it, really.
So I'm currently talking to you from the esports room, and Lee's come in now, so his lesson's about to start. So I think I'm going to have to wrap there.
Yeah, I think that's a good time to...
And Lee's on time for his lesson, which is amazing. Although he is walking off now, so he's going to make himself a coffee.
Lee can wait.
That's a good segue anyway. I think we've had a good discussion here.
Yeah, we will be back next week. I'd like to do. I want to do a weekly. This time weekly. I want to do discuss the British esports, discuss how the games have gone, discuss how the Welsh esports leagues go in. Discuss our very top secret leagues. We'll be able to discuss very soon, Kieran. And I'd like to bring in some guest lecturers from other colleges as well to give us some insight of how their colleges do. So I'm hoping to get somebody from QM, somebody from Coventry, somebody from Western, Wilmington. I know they'll come along, and I'd like to get some of the sponsors involved, like John from GT Omega. I'd like to get Adam from Corsair. There's quite a few people I'd like to bring along for chats weekly if they come.
Well, there we go. I guess you heard it straight from Neil's mouth.
Yeah.
So much coming this year from the Owls. So much coming from the Hoot podcast.
It will be weekly, whether we're bowling.
Oh god. Oh no, there'll be terrible episodes. I'll run out of things to say.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, there's so much exciting things coming from the Owls. So I guess just stay tuned. But thank you, Neil, for joining us. Thank you, Kieran. And I guess we'll see you all in the next cast. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.